welcome everyone to Overcome Podcast, the last episode of 2023. We had a great lineup this year, and we had to finish with awesome guest, someone that I know for a long time, that I met in the bodybuilding scene. We had the same coach back in the day. And she's here now to share her journey, her insights. She has a lot to talk about. Lori, thank you very much for being on.
Thank you so much for having me, Yuri. I really, really am so excited for today.
Lori, we talked briefly about your participation, and one of the reasons why I said that I needed to talk to you is because we met, as I said, a long time ago with Jeff Dwale. Jeff came to this podcast a couple of years ago, and you are one of the persons that I met in the bodybuilding scene that has always kept consistency year over year over year over year. Always you are there competing, dieting, working out. I mean, always. It's not like, oh, this is a summer project. Oh, this is a 1 year project. It's you are the definition of lifestyle project. But I want to go way back there. It was to ask, has always been that way, or did something happen that made you change the lifestyle, or you were always very active since you were young?
I love that question. And I can say that it's been in my heart and a fire in my belly from the minute one. So I ran my first 5K when I was 9 years old with a neighbor's daddy. It was just a thing, when you're 9 years old, you do whatever is ahead of you and you don't train for it or whatever. But I fell in love with running. I fell in love with athletics at a very young age. And so I've been a lifetime athlete, always training as an athlete, always setting, athletic goals along the way. And so it's really been part of me and part of my lifestyle as long as I can remember. I always say, I have a little saying, everything makes sense in the gym. And I've always felt that way, and that's how I feel
Well,
today.
but did you start competing in bodybuilding when you were on your 20s, or this is something that you only start fulfilling after 30s, 40s? How did that go?
Yeah, so bodybuilding competition, I started training in 2014 for my first bodybuilding competition. And in that first year, I actually trained for my seventh full marathon, 26.2 miles, at the same time that I trained for my first bodybuilding show. And I can hear I can hear the people in the background saying, "You never want to train for a marathon and try to build muscle and all the
Yeah.
things." So I went against the grain, but I have to say I don't regret any of the I don't regret any of the time I pounded the pavement in those years, just because that was my solitude. And I love fitness and I loved it and I love being a hybrid athlete. But I did compete, starting in 2015. That was my first competition, and I did well. I took first in two of my classes in my very first show. But for me, it's been a process. Really, prep is character building for me.
But
It
for
reveals,
the record, so everyone is on the same page, your first
yes.
bodybuilding competition was in 2014, and you were competing in which class and age division?
Yeah, so at the time I was in my 40s, my early 40s, I guess. So I'm 55 now. So I competed in Masters figure at the time, and I think I entered novice or true novice at the time and took first in those classes. I went on a year later to do my first national competition. I went to Masters Nationals in Pittsburgh, and I didn't get a first call out there, but that has always been my focus in bodybuilding, is to, earn a pro card. And it still is my focus today. It never left me. It has never
Hmm.
left me in the 10 years that I've been competing, even when I had to take a break for various reasons, it never left me. It's always been there, and I'm certain that it will not be realized until I do earn the pro card in bodybuilding. And I'm going for figure, which has been my favorite division. That's what I started in, and that's what I want to earn a pro card
Did you
in.
ever switch between figure and bikini, or you were always figure?
Actually, I switched. I didn't switch. I did both figure and women's physique for, I think, 3 or 4 years, 3 or 4 seasons. So, and I took second place in women's physique in 2019 at North Americans in Pittsburgh. But I'm not doing both at this time, and I don't plan to right now. I'm just focused on figure and focused on doing really well in figure at nationals, which is where we need to, obtain that pro card
And
when ready.
and the reason why you are focused on one single one is because you feel like it's easier to prepare. You feel like your body is more adjust if you don't keep switching. Is that the reason?
I think that's a really good question, and it has a lot of layers to it. I love physique style posing. I love it, and there was nothing about it that I um, didn't love. The preparation was mostly the same, but I'm a small stature, and it's just hard to put on muscle over 50. I mean, we're just in that, it's not as easy as it's hard for all of us, and it's catching me. So I just feel like if I stay with figure, I am just going to be more focused. I can focus on what I need to present, what is expected of me in the sport. I feel like my body style naturally tends more toward that.
Hmm.
If I'm focused in my training and eating and growth and all the things that need to go into it. So I think competitively speaking, women's physique, I just couldn't keep up. It wouldn't be sustainable for me for the amount of muscle that I need to
Makes
to
sense.
keep and continue growing. Yes.
But I mean, I follow you, and I see that you kind of keep a good shape all year around. So it's not that you have like an off season per se, and you may have it, but you don't really gain a lot of fat. I mean, you stay in shape all year long. Is that right?
That is correct. And I really, last year was a very difficult year. Everybody has difficulties. That's his life. For me, fitness sees me through the hard times, the good times. I celebrate, I grieve, all the things in the gym. So for me, it makes sense always to just keep pushing. And I think for a lot of years, it was easy for me to stay really lean and continue competing. And I kept the amount of muscle that was required to stay in the game,
Hmm.
if you will. But last year was a very difficult year. I experienced illness. I had my son broke his leg and had a lot of complications from that. The stress of those things and trying to come out of sort of, I was starting over. I had decided in November to come back to competing after a 4-year break. I had done a few competitions in between, but nothing national level, and really just to stay, stage ready in my own skills. But for those 3 or 4 years, I wasn't really competing or doing anything to put on more muscle. I was still working out and eating clean and all those things. But when last year hit, I lost a significant amount of muscle mass, which is the first time that had ever happened to me. And that is why I'm very sensitive on that subject now. We hear the messages and people talk about it. And I'm going to be really transparent and say, maybe I thought it couldn't happen to me because of the lifestyle that I have led for all the years. But when I went to nationals in September of 2023, the reality was I had lost a significant amount of muscle. And I will say this, a lot of people said to me, why don't you just switch to bikini? You would do amazing. You would do amazing now in bikini. And for me, that wasn't ever an option, because then it would mean that I'm content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. I want to grow. I want to continue growing. And that's why I say that, prep for me is character building. And that was something that stared me in the face. Are you going to be content and just stay with where you are, or are you going to grow? And growing for me always means outside of my comfort zone. So, yes, I've stayed very lean in a certain way all the years, but right now I am being pushed out of my comfort zone to regrow fresh muscle tissue. And that means put on some weight and, eat more and do some different things, use some different techniques. And I have to say it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun because this is a new challenge. And at 55, to have an opportunity to grow fresh muscle, to me, is miraculous. And I'm excited to give it my best.
And
So.
how long you've been on this new diet plan
Mhm.
and training? Like 1 month or so?
Yes. Since September, as soon as the show September 1st was over, it was on. I knew what my marching orders were, and I knew exactly what needed to happen. And as you and I both know, that 6-week period immediately following a competition, we are so anabolic with just food. So it's super important during that time to eat and work,
Yeah.
and keep your metabolism up, because we've been in a deficit for so long. And that's a time when we can be in a surplus and still be in a deficit.
But and how do you manage? Because as everyone knows, during the holidays you end up eating more. Are you controlling the macros during this time of the year, or are you just letting it go for now?
No, you know what? I am very much an elitist when it comes to food and food choices. So that doesn't make me very much fun at a party. It doesn't make me very popular as a coach sometimes, because, I have to, nothing makes me happy. Everything is a no. But so I eat super, super clean. And I don't really eat the food anywhere that I didn't make or
Oh
bring or
wow.
prepare. Have some, yeah. I'm not that much fun on a lot of occasions, but
What is your take on cheating meals, or you don't do it at all?
so I mean, as far as cheat meals go, I have like a menu, basically a life menu that I live by, a list of foods, if you will, that I know don't affect my physique in a negative way. But more importantly, if it's good for my health, if it doesn't affect my health in a negative way, then I know my physique won't be negatively affected either. Just because I'm going to feel well, I'm going to function well, perform well. So I eat for performance, and then it works out in the way it looks. But I don't eat a lot. So I have some like hard line no's. I don't eat gluten. I don't eat processed sugar. I don't eat dairy from the grocery store. Those are some of my hard lines. So
But but
that
but
eliminates a lot.
Lori, it was bodybuilding that taught you this way of living. In other words, before 2014, when you start competing, were did you have the same mindset when it comes to food, or did you change because of bodybuilding?
100%, I had the same mindset. So running marathon training, and I did a lot of half marathons in between just to stay with my, keep my distance up. I found out really early on that if I wanted to run that far and feel great doing it and doing the training, diet was everything for me. And I know a lot of people aren't as sensitive to a lot of things, but I seem to be sensitive to a lot of, food that isn't correct for me. So I found out what my menu was that I could eat on a regular basis and not have any negative effects on my performance, and I've just stuck with it. So it might seem boring to some, but to me, I'd rather be hungry than eat something that's going to make me feel bad or less, perform
In
less.
other words, you don't eat for pleasure. You eat as a feel.
That in theory, yes, but I love food and I love good food. So, and I cook every day and I cook for my family and I bake and I love food. So, and I'm really obsessed with food. So, as I think most bodybuilders really are,
Yeah.
we're all obsessed with it,
Eh,
I spend 90% of my time going to bed hungry, and right now I'm complaining about all the food. So, I complain a lot. Everybody's just used to it, um yeah, eating clean has been part of my life for at least 20
I
years.
think that
I've,
the fact that you've been always so self-aware when it comes to what you eat and everything, it helps you to stay kind of lean all year long. I'm gonna go to this direction because I also know that you are coaching some people. You have your own programs and everything, so you have clients on this. And how hard it is to for someone that haven't hasn't been really in this industry or on this lifestyle to make the switch to start incorporating those changes on their diet and on exercise based on your experience as a coach.
yeah, so my primary coaching is functional nutrition, which is, food is our medicine, and it's treating the symptoms through food. And my signature plan is a 12-week program where people come to get healthy. And weight loss is definitely a side effect, but it is not generally the primary focus, because once people start to feel better and they actually didn't know how good they could feel, it becomes the motivator and the driver for them to continue. And my goal is that people will come to me, that they will have a plan when they leave for 12 weeks, after 12 weeks, that they can live by and live with and adapt their lifestyle to being healthier and living healthier, going off of pharmaceuticals, and just take control of their own lives. As far as that coaching plan goes, it's never, I think that being a coach is not the same as being a
Mm-hmm.
client. I think I need both to be good at it, because it gives me, I have a softer heart for when people tell me how hard it is, or what, for whatever reason. I get it. I do. Sometimes it takes 3 or 4 tries, for me to get into prep. It'll take me a minute to get back on that horse, you know, and, um, and I understand that, as I've been there. I never ask anybody to do anything that I haven't done already myself, or that I wouldn't be willing to do. So I think that's really important for me as a coach. Um, I will say this about coaching, though. I have started coaching a few bodybuilding clients in the last year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and um, I love it. And I have a male client right now, and he's going to nationals in 2024. He's got a couple shows coming up. So, um, coaching bodybuilding is a whole different animal, and I love it. I absolutely love it. But I think that's
But
because I,
why is so different and why do you love?
I don't love one more than the other, but functional nutrition coaching is, you know, it's a different level of difficulty. It's difficult, and it's not less difficult, but it's just different. Competition prep, there's a point in prep where we have to say you have to be healthy enough to participate in this, because this is going to stress your body and your health for a minute. And that doesn't mean it has to diminish your health. It shouldn't. And my goal is always that health is first. But for bodybuilding, to be, for us to be competitive, we have to be healthy enough to participate in the rigorous, process that is
Yeah.
bodybuilding, prep for stage. And there has to be a balance. We have to know our bodies. We have to know how far we can go. We can push our limits, but the thing about pushing limits is you don't know what they are until you've gone too far, and there's a negative result that you have to, address. And sometimes minor, and sometimes it takes a minute. But coaching bodybuilding for me has been a way that I could share really coaching, all the coaching that I do and that I have done. For me, I feel like it has been a way to not let my suffering be in vain.
Mm-hmm.
So I could share, really just share. I'm an expert on me. Um, and I am privileged to facilitate any change in anyone that comes to me and is looking for it.
But what you say you
So
are like expert on you, it doesn't mean that when you go through a prep, you do a prep on your own. As far as I know, you always have a coach by your side. Is that correct?
absolutely, absolutely. And I have an amazing coach, and I wouldn't want to I wouldn't want to step outside what he tells me to do because he is an expert in his field, and that is why I started to work with him. But I'm an expert on me, and when I say that, what I am referring to, I guess, is, you know, I know what my body responds to. I know when I'm not feeling my best, or I know what I've already done that doesn't work, or, I know a lot of the things about myself. One thing my coach can do, though, is he can, it's easy for me to get stuck in a mindset and a comfort zone. I think we said that earlier, growth is pushing outside of the comfort zone. He can push me outside of that comfort zone and do it in such a way that is um, a teachable moment. Like, you don't have to go back to that. You don't have to revisit it. It's okay to let that go now. Let's grow past it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that I really appreciate because it is a lot of suffering. It is a lot of,
Yeah.
sacrifice. And if my life has revolved around it, I certainly don't want, and it does not, to the degree that family doesn't matter or the other things in life don't matter, but I start my day every day with fitness every single day. And I want to make sure that there's balance in all of it as I pursue this thing that isn't going to go
Yeah.
away until I get it, And so for me, the pursuit is to find balance in all of it, to make sure that I don't let go of the wrong things and hold on to the wrong things. So,
Yeah. And this program that you are in right now for next year, how many weeks out did you start? Like 20 weeks probably, or more than that?
well, so my next competition isn't until June.
Oh, so you
I will
have
be
plenty of time.
I have, you would think. We hope so. Yes, I have a lot of time. This was an amazing window of opportunity for growth. So from September until, probably March before I start to cut. And I don't know, I am not going to go around my coach. Whatever he says is what I will do. But nonetheless, it looks like we were going to have about a 9-month window of growth for eating and growing. And like I said, just changing my body composition for one. And so, yeah, I'll be competing in Dallas in June. So I have plenty of time to still eat and grow.
That's great. That's great. And is
Hmm.
this the first time that you do a proper off season like this?
I feel like it probably is. I think that it was just, when I was younger, it was easier. I didn't do less effort, but I saw more results faster from the same effort. And just, at this stage in my life, I have to adapt. I
Mm-hmm.
have to adapt to a lot of changes, and I am, and I will, and I don't plan, as long as I have a choice, I don't plan to stop trying. So, with that in mind, yes, probably this is the best off season I've ever had, and certainly it's different than any off season ever. For one thing, I'm not running anymore. I'm not running anymore, so that changes
You
a
probably are
lot.
doing way less cardio anyway right now, right?
Way less cardio, yes. I'm 25 minutes a day.
Every day?
No, I do 6 days a week, 25 minutes fasted. And, I feel actually I love fasted cardio. Just, for me, that is a great way to start my day.
Yeah. No, I do that too. Uh, The other question, because you brought up this question of the fact of the of your age, comparing to when you start and everything. How do you perceive the time to recover nowadays? It takes way more time if you do a heavy workout, or how you deal with the recovery. Do you have a specific regime to recover faster?
Yes, that is a great question. Prioritizing recovery is so important for growth. And I don't even know if that's age specific, but I think that, just at the stage where I am right now and working harder and eating more and doing a lot of different styles of training. I'm not training a lot of different styles, but I'm lifting heavy and doing less cardio. And, it's just all a lot of changes for my body. Um, I do a lot of things for recovery. I do sauna, I do cold plunge, I do cryotherapy. And, as I would say, we think of natural athlete to mean no anabolic steroid use and all that type of things. Honestly, none of that matters to me at all. I don't take anabolic steroids just because I've chosen not to. I don't have an opinion on all that. But for me, that wasn't a choice that I made. And recently, I have changed my protocol to include peptides, injectable peptides for muscle growth, for hormones, for a lot of healing in the body. And so, for me, that has been really a game changer recently. I in recovery, energy levels, sleep, quality of sleep. So all that stuff plays into
Yeah.
recovery and muscle growth and growth of any kind, really. So that's something I've changed. It's a big change, and you're no longer natural.
Well, yeah, but I remember, I'm not gonna mention names here, but one of my friends, female bodybuilder, that was also during a long time pursuing her IFBB Pro and everything. She was 100% natural, and she said that she went to the doctor to do some hormone blood work, and the doctor was the one that said you're gonna have to have some sort of testosterone just to, equalize your blood work, because right now you are, that's probably the reason why you are not moving forward, is because you are so low. I mean, you have nothing basically, right? So I
Yes.
believe that even if you don't want to go to that direction from the healthy standpoint, you still have to listen to probably your physician and see what he has to say about that too.
Truly. Yeah, so I don't do any hormone replacement therapy just because my hormones are good at 55. I'm very lucky and blessed for this reason. So I don't really want to mess with hormones, right now. But never say never. I'm not saying never at all. I think what you're referring to is something that really runs across the board. When you're bodybuilding is an elite sport. It is not for the faint at heart.
Hmm.
And we know this. And the lifestyle is a rigorous lifestyle, a very rigid schedule of exactly what it needs to be: food and work and recovery and all the things we discussed. So it's hard to do all that work and all those things and make the changes we want to make and not replenish what we're using in our bodies. And hormones are the driver for everything, really.
Yeah.
Gut health becomes an issue. Um, just eating the same foods over and over, we have to diversify. And there's just a lot of factors that roll into it. And I think the older we get, if we have been in sport long enough, we are going to come to you hit a wall
Hmm.
of some sort. And there are tools out there, and peptides is something I found, and I'm super happy. I'm so happy I have, because it's really, really helping me. And
Yeah, peptides is great. When I ruptured my triceps and I was recovering from the surgery, I took BPC 157, for
Yes.
healing, and it was awesome. I mean, it really helped a lot.
I tore a rotator cuff right after the show in September. It was about 4 weeks post show, and I had dropped down to about 5% body fat for that show, which is one of the leanest physiques I ever achieved. And so for those first 4 weeks, I needed to be more careful than I was. And I felt great. I wanted to try all these new things. And I never have gym injuries, but this was one of them. And I tore a rotator cuff. And that was what led me to the BPC 157. And that was what led me to the peptides in the beginning. And once I started that, I just discovered the whole list of things that could be corrected or addressed or improved through the use of the injectable peptides. And, the rest is history right now. I'm just trying several different protocols and really, my shoulders healed in 8 weeks
No,
from
no
the
surgery. You didn't have to do anything.
no surgery,
Wow.
just 100%. The VPC, you inject it in the site, of the soft tissue damage or the injury site. And so just injecting in the shoulder and rehabbing it, I know how to do it properly, and I have done it properly. And I really feel, actually, it's kind of been a blessing in disguise because it tore for a reason. I mean, I feel like it was a weak spot. It needed to be brought up. I feel like this process that I'm in now for building really has been a rehab process. I needed to address a lot of things, kind of the understructure of things, not just the top muscle, but the soft tissue underneath, the
Mm-hmm.
connective tissue and such needed to be addressed and revamped a little bit and strengthened. So since it was injured and I had no choice, I started to realize that on other parts of my body. So a lot of band work. I've done a lot of work with bands over these last few months and cables and, just a lot of different techniques that for rehabilitation and strengthening.
How did this injury happen? Were you lifting heavy? What type of thing were you doing?
I wish it was something really, you'd be like, oh, girl, you're so strong. No, it was actually, it was a back bend. I shouldn't have been doing that at all. I don't even do back bends. So I don't know. I was just like, oh, I need to stretch out my abs. I'm going to work on my core.
Really? That was it.
Yeah. Okay, that was it. I did a back bend and then twisted a little bit out of it. And when I did it,
And you
it was
you
immediate.
felt immediately.
I felt it immediately. I had no grip at all. I mean, my thumb and my forefinger wouldn't t barely touch. It was very much torn.
Wow.
And that's I was like, I don't know how somebody doesn't know. You don't need to have a doctor tell you it's torn. When it's torn, you know when it happens. So,
Well, but I guess it
um,
was not fully ruptured, right? Otherwise, you had to had a surgery. I think it was probably
yeah,
partial.
I think, and I'm sure that's the case. I feel very grateful that I was able to heal it myself. I know that, full well that some things can't be healed without surgery, but I'm grateful that mine could, and it has healed.
All right, cool. So now moving forward, you're going to continue the off season, and as you said, you're gonna probably start diet down around March, April, something like that. Because I believe that also you don't really require a lot of weeks out to start dieting because you are always lean. You are really gaining lean mass. It's not that you're gonna have to cut a lot. So usually, how much weight do you cut usually?
Well, I will say this. In years past, my off season, my highest weight is usually like 143, 144 is the highest weight I usually ever see. And this off season, we are trying for 150 to 155. And you and I both know that means you don't just get to go eat cheeseburgers and like weigh 155 because I could probably do that in one day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting at 141 today, so I have a little ways to go, and I'm not scared. I know I can do it. I feel full of hope. But but it can't just be pack on pounds. It has to be put on muscle mass, and so, lean body mass. So that is my goal. I am going to do everything in my power to, get that done. If I weigh 155 or 150, somewhere in that, and I start cutting in March, my stage weight, my stage weight in September was the lowest it's ever been because of the muscle loss, and I was at 119 on stage.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's a
Wow.
bikini number,
Yeah.
but I'm 5'4", I'm 5'4", and so if I can weigh in on stage day in June at, gosh, if I was 122 or 123, I would be super excited. That would be June. Now I also have, I'm doing Masters Nationals, which will be, I guess, 11 weeks after June show. And that is in Pittsburgh. I will do that. And then 4 weeks after that, I will plan to do North Americans as well. Just going for, trying to get my physique ready to try for the pro card. And if I still am not there, then I plan to do one more show before the end of the year. So, I've got a really great coach. He's guiding me the whole way. And honestly, what he has in store for me, I don't even know everything yet, because this will be our first year after a build that we've ever gone through this process
Hmm.
together. Um, but, I think that it's feasible to say, if I can gain 8 pounds of lean muscle mass in a year's time,
That's
it's
amazing.
doable.
That is a
I think it would be really amazing, but I believe I can do that. Because I eat really good, and I know that I eat really clean, and I think that's in my favor, but um, it's never as much as we think it is. We get the bulk, and we do, we were pumped up and we're big and everything. We're like, yeah, I know I look different now. And then we cut, and then it's like, it's kind of disappointing. My legs should be bigger. This should be bigger. But um, June will be neat. It'll be a neat reveal, because it will show me how much I have, gained since September.
But besides the
And then,
food, did you also change your training regimen to change the exercise to focus more on a heavy load? How the training has changed?
so, I keep coming back to this, but getting in a comfort zone, or just a familiar zone as a trainer. And I'm actually somebody that writes workouts. I mean, I don't think all people in this industry, love that part of it. Not everybody loves to write workouts for other people or whatever. And that's something that I've always loved to do, is just construct and put together workouts. But when it's just you working yourself out, you kind of get into a comfort zone. I do. I feel that I get kind of stuck in a rut a little bit. And when you do it for years, your rut can last too long, and, it can cheat you out of some changes that you need to be making or whatever. So having a fresh eye, a coach, a third party looking in saying, you need to change this or that, that's very helpful for me. But when we were able to see what I look like at 119, and what needs to change, you can visually see all the places that you need to grow. My coach and I, actually, he constructed a workout regimen for me with exactly what exercises to do. And the neat thing is, they've been a lot of different exercises that I wasn't doing on a regular.
Mm,
We're not reinventing the wheel. Exercises, there's pretty fundamental
yeah.
stuff. But just, even when it comes to your training style, changing the grip on something, or, changing the direction of your hands or your feet or whatever, those are small details that make a big difference in the results.
Absolutely.
So, I've just really focused on those details. I've followed what my coach's plan has been. It's grow legs and glutes and hamstrings and abs and pretty much muscles everywhere. Let's get them as quick as we can. But heavier, at less cardio. I have been the cardio queen. I love cardio. I love cardio. I feel like it's a lazy, for me, it was more of a lazy, mindset, because I can let my mind go when I run or do, just extended cardio. But when you lift, you can't really let your mind go. You need to be focused. You need to be in it
Yeah.
mentally, all of it, and count reps and care about your form and all those things. So it's been a shift to let go of the cardio, and I love lifting, but I love being in charge of myself.
Yeah, and also from
So
since
I
you are
know.
so big on health, we all know that cardio is so good for your overall health system, right? So I never really let it go cardio as well. I always do at least 30 minutes a day, just because I feel good. It
Yes.
makes me feel good. That's all.
Me too. Me too. I will say this though about cardio and weight training. I feel like at my age, in the last 2 or 3 years, my hormones have changed. I'm 55, and that's natural and normal. But a lot of cardio for me right now is not appropriate. It doesn't feel good. It actually starts to make me feel worse, not better. So there's like a limit. 25 minutes right now, doing 25 minutes is a great amount. I feel great. My heart and lungs are working right, all those things. But if I lift right, that's also cardio, and so I try to really focus on that, just because I feel more energized doing strength training. I feel less energized if I do too much cardio, and I feel that's a hormone
Well, but the
related.
question is regardless of the cardio, because I usually feel that way when I do steady cardio. But if I do a kind of a hit cardio workout, then it's super energizing.
Yeah, I I can see that. Yeah, I think it definitely depends on what kind of cardio you're doing. I wasn't a great example, running 10 miles and then, that's your fasted cardio. That's not good. It's really not good for any goals that I have right now. So, um, kids do what I say, not what I do.
So
Like
nowadays
that.
you do what? Stairmasters
So, as far as
for your
my
25 minutes a day, for example.
Yeah, so right now I do some Stairmaster. Some days I do Stairmaster. I do, incline on the treadmill, mostly walking on the incline. So all the way up to 10 or 11 or whatever. And just a brisk walk, or, I'll do some sprints or whatever here and there on the treadmill during that time. But mostly just, walking uphill or Stairmaster, one of those things. I don't do much hit. For me, hit is a injury risk. I don't do great with a lot of hit cardio. I'm just
So
not that.
nothing that reminds of CrossFit type of exercise.
Right. That's exactly right. I'm not that skilled. I'm not that coordinated. So I don't trust myself after the back bend issue with my shoulder. I try to stay away from fancy moves. But CrossFit has a lot of advantages in the weight training world, though. I mean, I love a lot of the techniques. And I've gotten some heavier equipment in my gym this year. I have a home gym, and heavier weights,
Hmm.
and the Olympic bar sets, and just some things that I needed to change the style that I wanted to train at. So
Yeah. Well, Laurie, I'm gonna wish you luck throughout this prep. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your insights and experience with our audience. And good luck on the prep. I hope that 2024 is the year for this pro card to finally come. You deserve it. It's about time, and I think this will be your year.
I thank you so much. Those are such kind words, and if I do win the pro card in 2024, I have to say that it is a group effort. It is going to be shared with all who have cheered me on and encouraged me along the way, and how blessed I have been to be part of so many journeys and to participate in my own. And I'm grateful for it every day when I wake up and I get to do what I love. So I thank you so much for having me. And yes, Happy New Year. It's coming to an end.
Yes,
So
thank you very much. Keep inspiring people and changing lives, and again, hope the pro card comes next year. All right.
me too. You can have me back and we can talk about it.
Yes. All right, everyone. This is a wrap for today's episode. Thanks for joining and for your audience throughout 2023. I hope that we all have a great 2024 with more overcome stories. See you next year.